Previously, I talked about the roots of Iranian New Year celebrations. In this video, I'm going to continue by talking about New Year in Iran. Just like almost all other New Year celebrations all around the world, people welcome this New Year by buying some new clothes or maybe some new equipment for their homes. Close to New Year, we have two important days and two characters that appear. One of them is called Nowruz, meaning Uncle New Year, and the other one is called Haji Firuz or Haji Piruz. Nowruz, which has lots of resemblances to Santa Claus, brings us gifts and happiness in the New Year, while Haji Firuz tries to joke around, make us laugh, and overall boost our morale for the New Year. And about the two important days, one of them happens on the last Wednesday of the year, and the other one happens on the last Thursday of the year. Starting with the last Thursday of the year, on this day people usually visit the graveyard and remember the loved ones that they've lost, while promising to themselves to know the value of the time that they've still got with the other people they love. And about the last Wednesday of the year, there is some sort of a dilemma going on. The celebrations of this day take place on Wednesday evening, and while many people consider the sunset on Tuesday to be the end of Tuesday and start of Wednesday, some others, and based on what I've researched, the ancient Iranians also believe that the sunrise on Wednesday means that the Tuesday has ended and Wednesday has started. That being said, I don't think you'd be wrong if you celebrate both days. And I said celebrate. Well, let's just say that over the recent years, the celebrations of this day have turned into a bit of a chaos. But not too long ago, instead of hearing the sound of a firecracker, you'd probably hear some kids singing, laughing, and going door to door while banging their plates or bowls with some spoon. In this custom, which other forms of it also might still be going on in different parts of Iran, quite like trick-or-treating, people give these kids a bunch of sweets or fruits or some gifts and splash a couple of drops of water on them as a sign of wishing them good luck. Nevertheless, in my opinion, these great customs are being overshadowed by the chaotic part I told you about. Yet there is still a small part of this celebration left, and that's jumping over on a small fire, as well as at the same time saying a verse that says, Zardi man az to, surkhi to az man, meaning my yellowness to you and your redness to me. That word-by-word translation won't do it justice. Here you're basically saying that I burn all of my anger, sorrows, and guilt with your fire, and I get energy, redness, and joy from you. While you're at it, you should also burn any grudges or ill will you have towards anyone, reminding you that is in the job description of Haji Firuz and Nowruz. Now there are a couple of things that people also do to have a great year. You gotta make some grass either from wheat or any other thing, then you gotta create some wheat pudding, and then you gotta color some eggs. But more importantly, you gotta do khunete kuni. Khunete kuni, which its word-by-word translation means house shaking, actually kind of is not that far off from the true meaning of this word. You gotta clean and organize every closet, clean the windows, clean on top of the refrigerator, underneath it, inside it. Yeah, that couch needs to be cleaned. Don't forget underneath the couch. Iranian houses are usually furnished with rugs. Don't forget to clean underneath the rugs or even maybe wash the rugs. Don't forget the doors. Don't forget the doorknobs also, and things of this nature. You also need to fix any broken things in your house. Bottom line, you should be clean and tidy and polished for the new year. Right, we're almost ready for New Year's arrival. One final thing we gotta do is to create a sofri haftsin. Now, sofra is something like a tablecloth that some people also put it on the ground and sit around it and eat their food. Before I tell you the items of sofra I have seen, I should also mention that, like I told you before, this celebration is shared between different countries, mostly the countries who have a common history with Iran. And over the years, some branchings have happened and we have different varieties for any custom. Namely, some Zoroastrians have sofra have shin, and shin being the next letter after sin in the Persian alphabet is the first letter of words such as sharab meaning wine, sham meaning candle, or shirini meaning sweets. As well as in Afghanistan, there is a sofra haft meyve, and meyve, which I guess is a different pronunciation of the word meyve, means fruits. And while I don't know a lot more about the details of these traditions, surely the resemblance between them is evident. Moving on with sofra haftsin, you should design a sofra, or you could also design a table. Haft means number 7, and sin is a letter from the Persian alphabet that is similar to the letter S in English. Simply put, this means that you need a sofra or table with at least 7 items that their names in Persian starts with the letter sin. However, not all the items of sofra haftsin start with the letter sin. Starting with those, you firstly have ayne, meaning mirror, then you have sham, meaning candle, then you need a holy book of your beliefs or any other book of importance to you, like some people put some poem books in their sofra haftsin. Then you need the eggs that you colored, and lastly you need saat, meaning clock, which despite starting with the letter sin, I don't think it was around in about 1,000 years ago. Continuing with the sin-lettered objects, you have sib, meaning apple, representing beauty and health, and each of these things in sofra haftsin kind of show a wish and a hope in the new year. Next sin is serke, meaning vinegar, which symbolizes patience and wisdom. If you remember, I told you that we need something like a wheat pudding. That's our third item, samanu, and this nutritious food represents power, strength, and fertility. As our fourth item, we have somak, and somak, or its similar translation sumac, is a sour spice that is made by crushing the fruits of a tree that grows in the mountains, and its red color kind of represents a new start, a new beginning, and restarting. As red color, especially in the Mitraist beliefs, is a representation of new dawn. Garlic is our fifth sin, as its Persian translation is sir, and sir was used as a medicine in the past mostly, but in sofra haftsin, sir means that we should take care of our health, while not intervening where we shouldn't. Our sin number 6 is sabze, meaning grass, and if you remember, I told you that some people grow this themselves, but if they haven't, close to the New Year time, right about every corner, you can find it being sold. Sabz in Persian means green, while sabze is anything that looks like a grass and it's colored green, and it's a representation of nature's rebirth. Before I tell you the next sin, I wanna tell you something real quick about that. This sin in Persian is called sanjed, and it's a bit of a sweet fruit. And while I was researching to figure out its English translation, because quite honestly I didn't know, I saw 2 names that, to me at least, make no resemblance to the sanjed I know of. One of them was silverberry, the other one was Russian olive. Anyway, sanjed is a symbol hoping to be deliberate and thoughtful with your actions. Okay, I think I told you 7 of the oldest items. However, there are 3 items which are famous and some people put them in their sofra, making the number of their sin even more than 7, or maybe replace them with any other item that they don't have. Starting with the most natural one, you have sunburn, meaning hyacinth, which is a type of a flower, and people put it in their sofa both because of its beauty and because it represents nature's rebirth. Then you have sangak, which is a type of a bread. Sang means the stone, and this bread is called sangak because it is made on top of a lot of hot small rocks. And overall, in Iranian culture, bread is a sign of a bless. And last but not least, you have seke, representing wealth and money. The final thing that you need to put in your sofra haftsin is a bit controversial, and some people in the recent years have decided not to put this item in their sofra haftsin. That item is goldfish, and there's definitely something fishy going on with it. While there are some financial incentives for some people, environmentalists believe that this fish is hurting the fish which are already living in Iranian waters. Now you know the things you need for your sofra haftsin, you can start designing it. Sofra haftsin, which is prepared a couple of days to a couple of hours before the New Year, is something that people, especially families, sit around it and be together moments before the New Year. Final moments before the start of the New Year are really interesting. People usually sit around the sofra haftsin. Religious people might be saying some prayers or reading their holy book. Some others might be reading some poems. And some people might be thinking about their past year or contemplating about their goals in the new year. And overall, you could say that there are lots of alone moments in this crowd. Well, maybe you're thinking about your New Year resolutions, and right about 1 minute before the start of the new year, you'd hear two famous prayers from TV or radio, and then the countdown begins. Traditionally, you'd probably hear a sound of a cannon being fired. You hear a sound like that being played from TV or radio, and the new year has started. You'd hear people congratulating each other the new year. Maybe there are some hugs and kisses. Also, people making great wishes for each other in the new year. Some minor people might also receive some AD. Speaking of which, AD is a kind of a gift, especially in form of newly printed money, which is given mostly to younger people in the family. A couple of minutes to a couple of hours after the new year, younger people get ready in order to visit their parents or grandparents, and usually it goes like this. Younger people visit the elderly. After younger people visited all of the houses of older people, now it's time for older people to visit the houses of younger people and see how they're doing. While there are a lot of singing and dancing going on, you should also keep this in mind that you ought to visit any family members or friends that you have in the hospital. Well, these traditions, especially in this day and age, seem a bit silly. The goal behind them is to create better connections between family members and friends, deepening the bonds of love, care, and trust and respect between them. By the way, in addition, you get somewhere between 3 to 5 holidays, of course based on the job you're doing and your boss. Nonetheless, in the past you had 13 holidays. The first 12 each were representing a month of a year, and the day 13, like many other cultures, it was considered to be an unlucky day. Based on ancient Iranians, in order to protect yourselves from the unlucky events in the new year, you had to go into the nature with your family and friends on this day and have fun as much as possible. In the day 13 of the new year, which is like the season finale for this whole celebration, you should do a couple of things. First, you gotta release the goldfish you had, but be careful not to release it in some place which it can hurt other fish. Second is that you gotta give back anything you took from nature. And third is that you should also give the grass you grew to the nature. But before you do that, tie two blades of grass together. Of course, if you have a loved one and you wanna tie the knots with that person. And with that, my first ever video on YouTube is finished. This two-part video was a bit long for the first time for me, and I really hope you enjoyed it. And since you're watching this on YouTube, I assume you already know what to do if you really like this video, or if you wanted to see more videos like this from me and support me. Till next time, Petrus.